Morning. Good morning, Jesse and
Morning.
Romina. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Um, I'm
Good
good.
morning to all
I'm good.
the people watching. Yes. Good morning to all the people watching on the live stream and watching on the replay, most especially on the replay. Um, Thank you for watching Facebook and YouTube. We'll be talking about mental health and particularly this advocacy of breaking your stigma, particularly on mental health. And we're talking to the guys from BYS, as they call them, to talk more about what is this all about and how can we help ourselves or maybe our family and friends are experiencing mental health. So my name is Anton Diaz, founder of our Awesome Planet, and we're awesome live with Break Your Stigma. Can you do a short introduction? All right. So let's maybe start with an introduction. Thank you again for all those watching in Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Please share this video to your family and friends who might be interested or to learn from mental health. So let's start with what is Break Your Stigma? How did it start?
Um, okay.
Maybe who
I'll
can
I'll ask
una?
Jesse maybe to talk about the brand behind it, which is BYS, and then I can jump in and talk about how Break Your Stigma is sort of the advocacy half of BYS. Hence, they have the same
Okay,
first letters.
the same.
Okay, Jesse.
Okay.
Yeah, so actually, I think that's a very good way of approaching this. So, just to introduce BYS, I guess it's an Australian makeup brand that's always advocated for women to be themselves. So, BYS actually stands for Be Yourself. And this year specifically,
Mm,
we're encouraging women to uncover their inner beauty through makeup. So BYS has always considered makeup as a powerful tool to really uncover what's truly inside you, uncover your creativity, uncover your passions, and I think with that, you know, with our core message and core belief of making people or empowering women to be the better versions of themselves, mental health was really the proper skew in terms of our advocacy because we believe that having like healthy like inner self is
mhm.
really key to being your best, like being the best version of you. Yeah, and with that, we actually partnered with Better Mondays. So that's Rumina's PR consultancy. So they're a trio, a wonderful trio. And we partnered with them, tried to figure out, what what's the best way for us to really encourage the women of the world, the women of the Philippines, to really be the best of themselves and try to find a way for us to help them the best way that we can.
Okay, so oh my gosh,
Okay.
can I
And
jump right in? Oh, Jesse,
yeah.
I was thrown off track because thank you for saying you're happy to work with us. We're the ones honestly so privileged to work on amazing campaigns with iface and BYS, and there you have it. So BYS, which stands the cosmetics actually stands for Be Yourself, but we realized you can't be yourself if you can't break your stigma. Kasi nga, you have a stigma about yourself, and a lot of this has to do with mental health. So when BYS came to us and said, "Can we do a mental health advocacy?" We thought long and hard, and as I was mentioning to Anton earlier, we consulted with experts because we never want to assume that we know when we don't know, right? So we talked with Gisa Paredes, who's a licensed psychotherapist, and we also talked to the Mindfulness, Love, and Compassion Institute for Psychosocial Services, or MLAC, and we asked, what are the problems regarding mental health and how can we help? And two things really came up. May stigma pa rin. There's still a stigma. And then number two, when people are finally open to seeking help, they do not know where to seek help. You have to know which of your friends to ask to find a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And because there's a stigma, may hiyaan pa yan, di ba? I mean, and we found it so strange. Like, Anton, I could ask you, "Hey, Anton, who's your chiropractor?" And that's a very normal question. But because there's a stigma,
Yes.
it feels so funny if I go, "Anton, do you have a psychiatrist? Can I have his number?" Di ba? See, you see the difference, right? So we came up
Yes.
with and it worked. BYS, be yourself, and then break your stigma is the advocacy half. So we decided to, okay, let's make a directory where, whether in private, if you just want to be by yourself to seek help and book a psychiatrist, or if you want to help break the stigma further and tell your friends it's okay to seek help, there's this website with over 100 doctors and psychotherapists and psychologists and communities that you could log on to and maybe book yourself a session if you really need it.
Yeah. And so far, what were the ano the so you launched this just recently, di ba? Like a year, a month,
A month.
a month ago.
Yeah.
Almost a month ago. How was the reaction, and what were the initial feedback, and what were the issues that you guys uncovered with this initiative so far?
Okay. Jesse, if
I
you don't
think,
mind, I'll.
yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Jesse. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that coming from the when we launched this, actually, we did like a media event. So we did like a Facebook Live, and I think first and foremost, the media coverage that we got was really heartwarming, I would say, because a
Yeah.
lot of the people who covered them weren't even the media that we invited, which I guess just goes to show how how much this advocacy and how much this issue is really deeply rooted in everyone. You know, everyone feels the same way, everyone feels not okay sometimes. That, you know, you don't have to force this kind of message to people. They really will write about it because it's something that they can relate to and something that they feel deeply about.
And then to add to what Jesse was saying, so you're one of them, Anton. We're thrilled that you wanted us to go on this live. Thank you very much. And then almost a
Yes.
month, no, a month or so now, having launched it, we've had, I think, close to 7,000 unique hits already on the website, which is a huge, huge thing,
Nice.
which we did not even expect at this point. We've had several doctors who reached out and said we'd love to be on the site. My own psychiatrist included. So I told him we came full circle. um, and then the other feedback that I wanted to sort of get into also was this feeling of, hey, where has this kind of website and directory been all along?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we
It's a long
felt,
time coming. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we were like, okay, so maybe we are getting somewhere because people are so receptive, and there's no embarrassment sharing as a website to a friend. Do you know what I mean? There's no
Mhm.
and we're helping
Yeah.
people break that stigma little by little, one conversation at a time, one sharing of the website at a time, one FB live or news clip even at a time.
Mhm.
And I think the
Yes.
the
Now,
key thing that, sorry, just to add to that, I think the
go
key
go
thing
go.
your stigma really adds and really created an impact on is accessibility. You know, the first thing that you do whenever you feel down is, you know, Google, like search like what's wrong with me or like what are these things that I'm feeling. And I think giving people an avenue not just to information but to like professionals who can actually give them the proper help that they need, I think is a great undertaking, and it's a, you know, it's a great platform that people can that people can go to whenever they need help.
Okay. Now, before we continue, I actually have a few questions. But I think for people watching, let's go through the website muna. Maybe just give us an overview of the website para they have a context then of what we're
Sure.
talking about. So I'll share the website. Um, and so this is the official website is breakyourstigma.com, correct? No?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so can you walk us through? So the main thing is the directory, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this directory is ano ba to? Parang certified. all of these?
Yeah. To give more context to the directory, we were very lucky kasi nga, I hope you guys remember I mentioned one of our consultants for the site is Gisa Paredes, and Gisa honestly
Mhm.
had put up a website, healingminds.ph, a couple years back, and this
Okay.
directory was what she had started. And sobrang fake
Okay.
because when we reached out, she was saying, I cannot handle the directory alone. And she was already thinking of maybe giving up the website because it's heavy for one person. And so thank you, VYS, for
Mhm.
funding the maintenance of this website. Um, so um, we were like, Gisa, it's fate. We will take over. We will help this become even better, and we're working on even improving the site. So yes, all of the doctors here have been vetted, and in fact, they all know that they were migrated from Healing Minds. And then we do have a
Okay.
sign up sheet for doctors if they do want to be part of the site. We just tell them na give us about we try to evaluate every month para naman we're not bugging our consultants every day with new sign-ups. So we do have a schedule, and then we take the time to ensure that they're legitimate and truly members of the mental health industry.
Okay. So what's the name of your psychiatrist, if I may ask?
I don't know. I don't
Yung
know if
silang
he's here
yes.
yet. My psychiatrist is
Is
Dr.
here, huh?
I don't know if they put him na,
Nandito
Dr.
ba siya?
David, David Valderrama. Nako,
Okay, got
napa-shout
it.
out ako. Hello.
I can
Um,
believe
Alam
it's like
kailangan
Anton.
nilagay, Valderan.
oh
Okay.
no, okay. He's amazing, guys, by the way, and I I I feel amazing that I can talk about it right now on a Facebook Live with someone as famous as Anton and as famous as our awesome planet,
Mhm.
and not feel ashamed. And that's what we mean by breaking your stigma.
Yeah.
Oo. Now, this is by location, no? I guess I saw you can search by location, correct?
You can and by specialization
Ga-
kasi there's family
What are the
yeah,
family?
yeah,
Pati mga child. Mas dumami ba yung mga
yes.
ano ngayon, mga kids? So what's happening in that industry? Maybe we can talk about. Mas what's more common issues now? More women ba? More kids? Ano bang based
Uh,
on what you guys are experiencing?
um well, and Jesse can answer coming from the BYS POV because I think even BYS, the site itself, has gotten its own hits. Coming naman from our consultations with sina Doc Honey and Gisa, and this is a really sad statistic. Over the course of the pandemic, one hospital alone reported that their suicide prevention numbers have doubled, and this is just the number for teens. When we say prevention, they didn't bother calling a suicide hotline. They were rushed to the hospital already because they had already attempted suicide.
Mhm.
So that's incredibly scary, actually, super scary.
Mhm.
Just to add to
Okay.
that also, I think um, what we're really adding to this is more of like seeing um, mental health awareness and like mental health treatment not as a cure, not even as prevention, but really just like a habit that people should do because it's something that you really should espouse in yourself that you need to take care of your mental health all the time. And I think that's the kind of change that we're seeing. You know, it's no longer um, people already contacting once it's too late or once um, there's already a problem that's pretty hard to solve. We're there every step of the way, even prior to that happening. So parang that's always been a qualm of mine with yung mga suicide hotlines because then um, I hope this doesn't seem as offensive as it does in my head. But then because people are calling you once they already have the intent to do
Yeah.
that,
Oo.
right? Whereas you should be treating that even before that was happening because
Mhm.
then because then that thought would never pop into their head to begin with. So I think that's how we should shift how we see mental health, and not, you know, treating it like treating it when it's too late already. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, I have a question to that. Maybe, Romina. Yun nga eh, how would you know? Like, for example, if you really wanted to help your family and friends, but you don't really know they have a mental health, or maybe sila mismo hindi nila alam. How do you bring that topic up, or how do you reach out ba? What's the proper way? Kasi syempre, meron ding offensive way, di ba? Like for example, I know some people will say, kulang lang sa dasal yan. I know a lot of the people hate hate that comment, di ba? But so what's the proper way? How would you like check up on someone um to just know, or just to help out, or to reach out?
um I'm not, a mental health expert. But funnily enough, Anton, you're preempting her content. That's her blog post for November. But taking from that blog post, which is, it
Oo.
was written from the POV of Gisa Paredes, or with her consult. What you said, Anton, asking how are you really, and being the safe space to just listen is already a huge step. um and another way is to ask them, what can I help you with? Because sometimes, and I'm so guilty of this,
Mhm.
when a friend comes to us for about a problem, we immediately jump into problem solving mode. So we
Oo,
start
yes.
throwing like, oh, then you could do this, you could do that, and then you can work out every morning. Do you want to join me? Da 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 da, and it's like a whole thing. And then
Mm.
sometimes they'll just tell you, hold on, I just needed you to listen. I didn't need you to solve my problems. So asking them. But with regard to the sensitivity of saying, do you think you should see a doctor? That's a whole other topic. I don't know if I'm qualified, probably not, to talk about it. But one thing I do remember that Doc Honey advised during the launch, because someone did ask that, is you could always invite to, because, and we'll have this too. Sina Doc Honey and our mental health practitioners, they sometimes do free, sort of like, Zoom lives where they talk about a lot of the more general issues. So anxiety, as Jesse was pointing out, suicide even, and if you feel you have a friend who may need it, you could invite them, and it won't be accusatory na, ikaw kailangan mo to, besh. Make it more inclusive, like, hey, I haven't been feeling great. I'm going to this. Do you want to join me? It could be as simple as that. That might be a way,
And
but that's just
for
one
me,
way.
yeah, for me actually, like what's an interesting thing is that um, a lot of the times, whenever I don't feel like myself, it's
Mhm.
sometimes pretty obvious. Like, because you know your family, right? Like, you know your friends, you know how they act. And it's pretty easy to tell when there's a change in their behavior, or they don't seem to act quite right. And I think just an acknowledgement of that would be a good way to start. Like, it doesn't, of course, I'm not a professional, so I can't really
Mhm.
say exactly. But I think a good way to tackle it is, when you notice something is a little bit different, you can just check up on your friends. You see that on social media all the time, that message, which is just to check up on everyone, especially right now, diba, na everything's a little bit of a mess. And I think everyone is sort of in the same boat. Just knowing that someone is there is actually quite a
Yeah.
powerful
That's
thing.
what I figured. Sorry. Nakigulo si ano. Alright. Ah, Hindi, nakigulo lang si Siri. But no, yes, thank you. Thank you for that, no. On how to contribute. Now, my next question, I'm just curious, no. How does cosmetic play into this? Hindi ba, for example, because of Instagram, people, all make up, all this glam contributes to, mental health issue. On the other side naman, hindi ba sometimes cosmetic helps up perk up your personality. Ano ba? How do you tie in that makeup and mental health? Uh, helping each other out.
Okay. Actually, I think I can answer this. So when we were trying to craft the campaign, actually, I was inspired by this one TikTok video. So I was watching this girl on TikTok. She was a burn
Uh,
survivor. So she had scars on her face. She did not feel confident anymore because she didn't look like the same girl that she was prior to, the accident before she got
uh,
burned. And then I saw on her TikTok that all her content were makeup content. She uses makeup to feel better about herself, to make herself feel more confident, and to uncover like the beauty that she had even prior to getting that into that accident, and even after, because she still has that beauty inside of her. And I was inspired by that because tama ka eh. A lot of people misconstrue makeup as this glam thing that is contributing to everyone's skewed perspective of the world. But you have to see it differently because not everyone sees it that way. Eh. A lot of people actually use makeup as a way of self-expression. And in terms of ano naman, the advocacy itself,
mhm,
when you ask na parang, oh, ano yung point ng makeup, ano yung point ng makeup sa mental health, advocacy in itself, for us, we see this advocacy as an advocacy. We don't use this as a way to sell our product. Like we're not
okay.
selling
Relate.
product that this is advocacy. This is just something that we're doing because it's something that we feel very strongly about. So it's okay if you feel like it's not, alam mo yun, parang it is sort of a deviation. Parang why is a makeup brand talking about mental health? And that's not really something that we care about because we care about the issue, we care about this topic, regardless of what we're selling. Even if we were selling like even if we were in like a different industry, this is still something that we pursue because we think that this is something that people should talk about more openly.
Okay. And just to you know j- just to discuss the main branding, no, breaking your stigma, is that your main objective for more and more people parang saying, hey guys, I want to go out, diba, parang to acknowledge their mental health issue and take care of it, o paano ba? How do you want the break your stigma branding to really be alive?
Sige, I'll jump in. We want people to break the stigma first and foremost for themselves.
Okay.
Um, I
Internally, okay.
always, yeah, internally, because I always tell people like, when we say break your stigma, you don't need to be like me na, I've come out and talked about my mental health issues. Your mental health journey is so personal. So whether or not you choose to tell people that, you know what, I sought help, that's on you and it's perfectly fine if you want to keep it private. But what matters to us is that the world feels safer for you to break the stigma within yourself. That for us is the most important. So in fact, Anton, if you look at the site at the very top, diba, there's it's okay to blank. Like at the, yeah, at the very top of the site, there's if you go to the homepage, it starts with it's okay to blank. Um and the answers to the answers here now, it's okay to not feel okay, it's okay to have bad days. These are actually real responses. In fact, Anton, if you want to try, you could actually type your own answer. I hope I asked for this. So sana you could type, yeah. There you go. And that's gonna be part of the loop. So just for everyone to know, we this is our one of our listening tools, because the point is to make people feel that it's okay to be whatever they are at the moment, and that should that right now self need help, it's really really okay, and it's a good thing to actually seek help.
Yeah. With that also, sorry, I think you're on mute.
Go. Yeah, please add. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that with that, since it is breaker stigma, we're trying to sort of attack it in a more introspective kind of way. Na it has to be you, because you know yourself better than anyone. So it has to be you, um, to see it has to be you who seeks help first, because
Okay.
you're the one who can tell kasi there's something wrong with you. So parang you need to have the courage to help yourself really.
Okay. Now, just a follow up to that. So now you've break your stigma to yourself. Is there a proper way to like announce it, or like for example, Romina, you're comfortable already, talking about it. But is there maybe you can share? Is there a process, or is there a proper way to do it, or if you are a friend who knows somebody who's so dapat quiet ka rin lang ba talaga throughout, is there a proper way to break your stigma publicly in a sense, or parang in social media is there do's and don'ts to do that?
I'm
Sorry,
not.
medyo marami.
No, that's okay. I'm not, a psychiatrist, everyone, or anything, but I don't know if there's a proper way. Because as Jesse was saying, just like makeup, actually, mental health is so personal. So again, also just like
Okay.
your makeup, how you choose to come out with it, whether you choose to come out at all about it, is really really on you. I think for me, the only advice I would say, as somebody who's quote unquote come out, is do it on your own
Uh-uh.
terms. The first time I actually openly posted about it was a year after I had graduated from my cycle of meds, which I'm so glad I sought help for, and my wonderful psychiatrist prevented me from having a full blown bipolar disorder, because he really told me, Ramina, you're on the edge, and
Okay.
you've reached a point where you're doing so many things that your mind is pushing itself to a manic level to keep up with all that you want to do. But that's the thing with mania, kaya siya bipolar. What comes all the way to up, you're gonna crash back down. So the times you're telling me you're starting to feel numb, it's because your body's already on sensory overload and you're dropping. So he's like, I need to put you on meds to keep your.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has ups and downs, guys. By the way, it's normal. Okay, but there is a normal range of your ups and downs. So it took a year. It was only a year later when I sort of came out on World Mental Health Day and said I kept the packet of my empty meds as a reminder of kind of how far I've gone. And then a year later, it was break your stigma na. So
Galing ah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good story. Now, last question. I am just curious, no. In terms of generation, are there generation more affected by, um, by the pandemic in terms of mental health? So, for example, are the millennials, having more this issue on mental health, or are the younger one, the Gen Z, the Gen X, the 40s and above, or even the older ones? Have you encountered any specific groups that had issues on mental health?
Jesse, what
uh,
about from your end?
I think for me kasi, I don't think anyone is more or less affected by it. I feel like we're all affected by it in equal ways. What's different is how open we are in talking about our problems. I think that's what separates the newer generation from the older generation, because the newer generation, we're more open to talking about our problems. We're more likely to admit that there's something wrong. We're always trying to figure out, like the Gen Z, the millennials, we're always trying to figure out how to make the world better and make ourselves better also. And I think with the older generation, while there is, a change to it, like a lot of the people parang who are like Gen X or like older, they try to keep it together. Eh. I see it with like siguro my parents or a lot of the older people that I know. They try to keep it together. They don't tell you that there's something wrong, even if
Mhm.
it's so clear that there's something wrong. Na. And I think I think that's really what's different. I don't think any generation is affected any more than the other. I think it's more of how open you are or how likely you are to seek help.
Oo.
Yeah.
I think the younger generations are more likely to seek out, di ba?
Mm.
Kasi yung
And
the older ones wala eh. Parang kanya-kanya na lang or friends, no? Family and friends.
Yeah. Um, I remember when I was sort of, kind of telling my close family and friends na, oh, so I saw the psychiatrist and everything. What some of the older ones had warned me like, oh my gosh, like you're gonna have red on your ledger, like
Um,
that's so scary. Like if you're gonna apply for a job, like, oh no, don't na, like don't make it official, don't go to a psych because then it'll be like you'll be tainted. So there's still that stigma.
Yeah.
Um, so I
okay.
agree totally with Jesse. Yeah.
There's also like an idea na parang I had to go through this, so you should go through that too. Yung parang, ako nga ganito eh. You know what I mean? Yung parang whenever you talk about like
Uh,
how down you are, na parang, oh, I don't feel too good, I feel too stressed, ganyan. And then the older generation would be, nung ako nga nasa age mo,
Yeah.
ganito ako. Or like, ako nga, ganito yung ginawa ko, bakit ikaw hindi mo kayang gawin? And for
uh,
me, parang, like, that's the kind of mindset that we want to change because okay, so nahirapan ka rin. So why can't you understand my struggles? So just because you had to work through it doesn't mean I can't seek help for it. And if anything, I feel like that should make you more compassionate because it's something that you understand, right? So I think it's more of like a shift lang in the mindset of people and how you approach these things. Na parang, you know, hindi porket nahirapan ka, dapat mahirapan din ako. Alam mo yun? That kind of thing.
Oo. That's good. Ang galing. Galing ng mga sagot nyo. And it's awesome to get to know more about Break Your Stigma because and how through your advocacy and how authentic the advocacy is. No. Um, Now, last question from me. As we finish 2021, syempre, a lot of people, survived 2021. Coming to 2022, what do you think are the things people should look forward to in 2022 in terms of mental health and in terms of your breaker stigma? What are you guys planning for 2020?
Um, okay. Well, I'll jump
Sige.
the gun because
Hindi
I'm
na lang.
supposed to present this to Jesse. So
Ganun.
Jesse, that's okay though, Anton, because I have a meeting with the website team later. So Jesse, well, we are gonna
Oo.
present this to you guys in full. We are coming up with a more with preventive content because one thing about mental health prevention really is worth a pound of cure. Kasi ang mahala if you have to
Yes.
get into the cure phase. So we're
How
we're
much
going
ba?
to
Just
it depends.
perspective. How much
It
would it?
really
Okay.
one session can set you back at least 1,000, and that's just one session. And you're lucky if you only need one
Okay.
session, right? And meds are not cheap. I'm
Okay.
not gonna lie. So we are coming
So
up
mahal yan.
with more preventive content so we can help people before they need the therapy. And then we are also coming up with we're working this one's tricky, but we're trying to work with a pool of doctors probably from the site who may commit to lesser fees, and then we're coming up with
Okay.
funding. Of course BYS committed na nako, committed na an amount that they themselves are going to donate regardless of sales or whatever, so that people who really need the therapy and the meds but can't afford it will have that fund and pool. It's just this is a medical thing, so it's tricky to put together, so we're taking our time because I haven't presented to Jesse. um
That's the
but
first time
then
you did it also. I couldn't hear you.
yeah, so I'm like hala. And then but then Jesse, we'll have a podcast. This one Jesse
Yeah.
knows. Yeah, we'll definitely have
Okay.
a podcast.
The podcast I'm super excited.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
like, maybe that's in the future now. But like
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that I feel like the pandemic has really changed our view on things. Like we've changed how we view the world, how we view working, how we view na parang, we don't have to work in the office, we can work from home. So I feel like what's good about 2022 is the pandemic has changed us both negatively but also positively because it has helped us reflect. It's helped us know ourselves better, and know how we should navigate the world better also. So I think in terms of the positive light of what 2022 can give, it's really the wisdom that this has given us. Na parang we know a lot better we know ourselves a lot better, and therefore we can live a lot better as well.
All right. Galing, galing, galing. Actually, what you need in 2022 is a music theme
Vaccination.
song video.
Ay, ang galing na, no? Ang galing ng music things.
Oh
Uh,
my god.
May
Break Your
background
Stigma. No,
vaccination.
ang ganda ng branding, ganda ng branding. I like what you guys are doing. I think ang galing nga nung insight ng directory actually. Because I've talked to a lot of the mental health. Minsan people realize na when you ask them, where do you seek help? Wala ngang next na tanong eh, 'di ba? Usually hush-hush pa rin yung
Yeah.
hush-hush kung sino eh.
Yeah.
And yun, and sa directory sana maganda yung ano no, yung may mga review. Hindi review eh, kumbaga so sino ang ano ni Romina.
Oh
Parang
no.
hindi
Don't
naman
say
review, parang
For
hindi
rating.
ano lang, parang testimonial, parang gano'n.
yeah.
Anyway, pero
Really?
I'm happy that you guys are doing this, and I think this is very needed. The directory, and this will help a lot of people, and of course, we'll continue to support you guys
Thank you, Anton.
in any of your initiatives. So, just to close this, any final message, Romina, and then Jess?
I'll have Jesse say the last word. I mean, guys, we owe this all to really his brand, huh? He could have said no to me. Guys, do it for yourself, do it for others. Let's be kind, super kinder than necessary to everybody else. And please, if you need help or if you know anyone who might need help, just log on to www.breakyourstigma.com, and we have over 100 therapists there, just at the click of a button or a phone call away.
Yeah. For me, I think Romina's already said most of the necessary stuff. But what I would like to add is, in this world or in the society that we live in right now, where everything kind of just sucks, what we really need is empathy. We need more empathy towards other people, but also empathy for ourselves. We should know how to understand other people's feelings, but also know how we can dissect ours and make sure that we're always in tip-top shape, and make sure that everything that we do is for our own good as well. So I think that's the best way to approach not just mental health, but your everyday as well. So you can go, like Rumin has said, you can just go to our website if ever you need help, and we're always going to be there. And also BYS as well as a brand, we're always just here. If there's going to be like another problem that's going to catch our eye, and for us is a good advocacy, we're sure to be there and really support those kinds of issues.
All right. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much. And for you guys watching, please share this with your family and friends who would have this issue or looking for to seek out help or to break their own stigma. Maraming salamat. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Romina.
Thank you,
Maraming salamat
guys.
for
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Anton.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
thank
much.
you.
yes.
Okay.
Live an awesome life,
Alright.
guys. Thank you. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Can you do a short film?